He never tells what he's going to do with reforming our healthcare systems, Medicare, Medicaid. How he's going to reform Social Security. Is he going to deal with long-term debt? How? Is he going to reform the tax system? How? Just tell us. Why are we in this fight with him? Just tell us, Commander, give us our orders and tell us where we're going. Give us the mission. And he hasn't done it.
Yes, the reliably sycophantic Chris Matthews of MSDNC. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, Captain, my Captain, just give us our marching orders. Sieg Heil, we will do what you want, mein Commander. I want to be in your army. I am wearing the uniform of you. I am saluting now to you because you are my commander. And I want my orders for the marching. Yeah. Chris Matthews pleading with Barack Obama to give him his marching orders. This an award-winning journalist in the mainstream news media, sucking up like, good God, and there's just no shame left in America. Isn't it amazing? I wanted to start with that because, and there is a ton of stuff to get to today. We had the big primaries in Wisconsin and Maryland, and in Washington, D.C., where I live. And Mitt Romney sweeps them quite handily, actually, and now it's on to Pennsylvania, and let's win there, to paraphrase Bobby Kennedy. And Mitt Romney is headed to Pennsylvania to confront Rick Santorum there head-to-head, and we'll get to all of that a bit later on in the program and where we need to go from here. Barack Obama on the attack, you know. I mean, it's as if he's really done anything else since we first met him other than attack. But yesterday, speaking to a group of groveling Chris Matthews-like reporters from the Associated Press, the most generic and allegedly neutral of all of the news organizations. And boy, howdy, wait until I jump into this stuff. But Barack Obama attacking Republicans as radicals, and he's a centrist, and you know, Paul Ryan's a radical. Wow. Wrong end of the telescope there, Skippy. I want to get into this because I continue to marvel. I'm never shocked, but often appalled at what I see from our friends in the so-called mainstream news media, the fourth estate, the people that are supposed to be keeping our politicians honest. And our system is broken in very large part because the watchdog has been bought off with biscuits by the burglars, okay? And that's the news media. The news media is owned and operated by the Democrat Party. In case there's any doubt about that, I'll provide you some additional evidence in this hour. But I want to get into this in this hour where Chris Matthews groveling there, a fellow named Dean Singleton, who's like the dean of the Associated Press. And he was introducing President Obama, President of the United States, yesterday at this AP gathering, Associated Press gathering, right? You read AP stories in all the newspapers, the television news people use AP stories. Everybody uses AP stories. AP is everywhere. They've got some guy on a phone in Botswana who's phoning stuff in about plane crashes there and all that stuff. They're everywhere. They're the Associated Press. They're kind of the, by some measure at least, the gold standard in objective news media. But not so fast, because the room full of groveling wannabe Chris Matthews types yesterday, sucking up to President Obama as he dictated to them what they ought to be reporting. And then they followed his orders. They just want their marching orders, like Chris Matthews said. Page 6 of today's Washington Post. This would be front page if President Bush were president. Down at the bottom of the page, gets a few paragraphs, really not much. Justice Department told to clarify position on judicial power, the headline reads. And buried here in the paper, most people will barely glance at it, a federal judge expressed concern Tuesday over President Obama's comments on the Supreme Court's consideration of the health care law and demanded a letter explaining whether Attorney General Eric H. Holder, Jr., they love to call him that, believes federal judges have the authority to strike down federal laws. Judge Jerry Smith, a Republican appointee on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit, was part of a 3-judge panel hearing the arguments in a lawsuit over the Affordable Care Act, which is Obamacare, when he issued his unusual demand, saying the Justice Department must submit a 3-page, single-spaced letter by noon on Thursday. And listen to Jerry Smith. I want to hang out with this guy.
Does the Department of Justice recognize that federal courts have the authority in appropriate circumstances to strike federal statutes because of one or more constitutional infirmities?
He's wondering whether the government understands how the government works.
Referring to statements by the president in the past few days to the effect, and I'm sure you've heard about them,
Might have.
that it is somehow inappropriate for what he termed unelected judges to strike acts of Congress that have enjoyed, he was referring, of course, to Obamacare, to what he termed
he called it Obamacare.
Broad consensus and majorities in both houses of Congress.
Oh, damn Republican. He called it, aha! There's the aha moment for MSDNC. Aha! J'accuse. You are the Republican. You want the people with the dirty water and air, Down syndrome and autism fend for themselves. Judge Smith.
That has troubled a number of people who have read it as somehow a challenge to the federal courts or to their authority or to the appropriateness of the concept of judicial review. And that's not a small matter.
Yeah, I think that that would be fair to say. Otherwise, a reckless, out-of-control, monolithic Congress and White House controlled by one party, as was the case when Obamacare was created, the Obamacare monster was created, and then the court is supposed to step in and stop the government from engaging in tyrannical acts. But that would ruin the whole Democrat program. The president yesterday, in his big lie speech, as it will be known for centuries to come, to the news editors who were, lickspittle, eager lickspittles, actually said that the Republicans, the Darwinism thing, said that if Republicans get their way, that we won't have the capacity to enforce laws that protect the air we breathe and the water we drink. He's back to the dirty air and dirty water thing. I mean, he's crazy. He can't really think that, or either that or he's mentally ill. And I don't think he's mentally ill, so I think he's a liar. He says cuts to the FAA would likely result in more flight cancellations, delays, complete elimination of air traffic control. It'd be pandemonium. No air traffic control services in entire parts of the country, and the parts where there are no airports. Amazing. And he says over time our weather forecasts would become less accurate. If Republicans get their way, weather forecasts would become less accurate. He really just doesn't understand how the world works. Judge Smith.
I want to be sure that you're telling us that the Attorney General and the Department of Justice do recognize the authority of the federal courts through unelected judges to strike acts of Congress or portions thereof in appropriate cases.
Judge Jerry Smith, American hero, a hero for our time. He wants the president and the attorney general to come back to him with a 3-page letter. None of this triple spacing stuff. He should have given specifics on the margins, too, because they'll probably use like 5-inch margins, have one word going down the middle of the page, because that's the kind of sophomoric dimwits these people are. And they have no respect for the Constitution. As Ruth Bader Ginsburg made clear recently, constitutional authority, most of what we do has got nothing to do with the We're just in charge. Get out the way. Judge Smith.
I would like to have from you by noon on Thursday, that's about 48 hours from now, a letter stating what is the position of the Attorney General in the Department of Justice in regard to the recent statements by the President, stating specifically and in detail in reference to those statements what the authority is of the federal courts in this regard in terms of judicial review. That letter needs to be at least 3 pages, single-spaced, no less. And it needs to be specific. It needs to make specific reference to the President's statements and to the position of the Attorney General and the Department of Justice.
I love this guy. And it should be pinned to your shirt. And be sure to attach the clamps to your dummy string for your dummy mittens when you bring it in. Because I represent the third branch of government. Perhaps you've heard of it. It's called the judiciary. You dictatorial appendage.
Out-of-touch liberals like Barack Obama say they want a strong economy, but in everything they do, they show they don't like business very much. But the economy, of course, is simply the product of all the businesses of the nation added together. So it's a bit like saying you like an omelet, but you don't like eggs.
Mitt Romney, big victories last night in Wisconsin, in Maryland, in Washington, D.C. Rick Santorum still in it. Newt Gingrich out there, Ron Paul out there. Now, there was a big water main at the White House that busted this morning, and a gusher, a geyser, flying up in the air. Like Oddjob kicked over the fire hydrant, Big geyser cut in. They don't know what happened there. They're thinking, I don't know, Jeremiah Wright might have been shooting at some Jews and hit the water main. I don't know what it is.